Dave Moody was the guy that Paulie suggested we talk to, known as the Godfather. He lives at the tracks, lead turn announcer for Motor Racing Network, joining us from Talladega. Dave, thanks for joining us on short notice. Give us a set. Well, let me start with the obvious. The reaction when you heard about this yesterday afternoon or last night with the news found at Bubba Wallace's garage.
Well, horrified certainly is the first knee-jerk reaction. As a member of the NASCAR family, the NASCAR community, I would say there's a certain factor of embarrassment here, despite the fact that we don't know yet who's responsible for this. It's become a very much a front burner topic in the recent weeks, Dan, despite 60 odd years in this sport battling with the different elements and facets of racism. But boy, it's become hot burner here lately. And it clearly is flushing a lot of people with antiquated views out of the shadows in a big time way here in the last few days.
Take me into the garages there, the setup that Bubba Wallace would have, and then who has access to that? It's
very different since COVID-19 than it has been. A year ago this weekend, there would have been literally thousands of people in the garage, fans and sponsor representatives and the like. This year, with the COVID-19 shutdown, there's a very finite number of people that have access to the garage. It's race teams, obviously race team members working on all those race cars. There are track personnel there, people that have to empty the garbage cans and the like. There's law enforcement. There's emergency medical people on hand. NASCAR officials, certainly. But it's a pretty finite number of people compared to what it would have been a year ago.
I don't know about, do teams have their own security for their cars, and what does Talladega offer?
They really don't. The tracks provide security. Obviously, the garage areas are fenced off. There is considerably more space between the actual teams this year than there has been in the past because they've gone to every other garage stall in order to help with the social distancing. But the tracks are responsible for cordoning off those areas. The garages are generally, and I can't say in every case, but they are generally locked up after the garage closes and the teams go home for the night. Who might have access during those, after hours times? I don't know. I'm reasonably confident, though, that with the assistance of video cameras and the like, we're going to find out who did this.
But do we know, has NASCAR even announced that they have cameras here? I haven't seen anything or heard anything, but I don't know if they have coverage of the exterior of these garages or interiors.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they have available to them. I know that NASCAR as a sanctioning body travels with a lot of video coverage to keep an eye on things that are going on in the garage. Quite honestly, I don't know the extent of that. And very few people do know the extent of that. And that's kind of the idea. NASCAR, in a kind of modified Big Brother approach, they don't want these race teams to think that nobody's looking and nobody's seeing what they're doing to these race cars at any time during the course of the weekend. So I'm reasonably confident, without knowing the specifics, that they're going to have some video footage to look at here.
What's the weather going to be like at Talladega?
I don't know. It was a 20% chance of rain yesterday. The rain moved in about 2 hours before race time, and it just never let up. The forecast for today is not as good as it was yesterday. But I'll say this, Mother Nature has not been a friend of ours this year. We were supposed to rain out far more often than we were supposed to race. And while we've had a few of those this year, more than we would like, we've also gotten a few in that the weather guessers didn't think we had a chance at. So we'll see.
This is a hate crime, Dave. I think somebody should go to jail for this. Whoever it is. I don't know if they said, well, maybe it's an inside job. I mean, to me, I don't care if it's unless it's somebody on Bubba's team. If it's an inside job, they should go to jail for this.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I know at this, at a time like this, it's hard to look at a situation like this as anything positive. But in a backhanded sort of way, it is. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, we in the NASCAR community have been able to look at our circle of friends and realize with a great degree of certainty that some of them are dinosaurs and some of them are still in the 1800s and some of them are up until very recently, closet racists. And every opportunity we get to weed them out, even if it's one by one or one a week or one a month, it's still one fewer than we had when we started. So I guess that's the upside to all of this.
Yeah, and I hear people, and you've spent your life in this sport, Dave. I just do drive-bys with this. I'm curious, and I like the personalities, and we have a lot of those guys as guests. But, when somebody says, well, NASCAR finally got rid of the Confederate flag, I look at it as, yes, could we have done it before? But they did it. Like that's progress that you did it. And here we are talking about this. I mean, you probably didn't think there would be a day maybe in your lifetime that Confederate flag would not be flying inside a track.
That's right. It's been very slow to happen. It's taken far, far too long. NASCAR is still a predominantly, an overwhelmingly white male sport. Even in comparison to other branches of motorsports, NASCAR remains a white male sport. They're working awfully hard to change that. They've made some terrific progress. Bubba Wallace is certainly an example of that. So the fact that it's taken too long is sad, but the fact that it's finally happening, it's been a cataclysmic last couple of months for our sport between COVID-19 and all of the Confederate flag discussion and debate. It's been a tsunami, really, that's overtaken this sport, and I don't think we've seen the last of it yet.
Yeah, NASCAR's got to get NASCAR like baseball. You have an older, your fan base is older. NASCAR's partnering with Barstool Sports to try to get younger. You would think you would be trumpeting Bubba Wallace. Here's a good-looking guy, not afraid to stand up, speak his mind. This is the future. That's a whole different fan base, and hopefully NASCAR's looking at it that way. And I'm watching today, but I'm watching for Bubba Wallace. I hope the hell he wins. So
I understand that completely, and you're right that it's a mystery to me that corporate America has not yet found a reason and an excuse to step up and get behind Bubba Wallace with everything positive that he has going for him. And quite honestly, there are no negatives with Bubba Wallace. And then you factor him in with Richard Petty, with the hat and the sunglasses. Is the most recognizable personality in the history of our sport. He's our Muhammad Ali. You could send him to Uzbekistan and someone would walk up to him in the airport and ask him for his autograph. So it's baffling to me that nobody in corporate America really has seen fit to any great degree to get behind this young man. But I'm hopeful that this may change, maybe for all the wrong reasons, but the end result may turn out to be right.
Dave, thanks for joining us and good luck this afternoon. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Dave Moody, lead turn announcer for Motor Racing Network, host of Sirius XM Speedway on Sirius XM, the NASCAR radio channel.